What is up, guys? I do hope you are well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some r/relationship stories. If you'd like to skip the initial waffle, timestamps are always in the description and along the timeline below, so always feel free to use them if you want to go straight to the update or the comment section or wherever you like. And if you'd like to help out the channel, you can click that like button, which super helps out, commenting below and watching as much of the video as possible. Super helps out the channel. Thank you so much for your love, support and time. Let's crack on with today's stories. Much love, guys. Now, our first story comes from Morbid Cutie, and it does follow with an update. It's titled, I, 22 female, feel like a prisoner in my relationship with 30 male. I met my boyfriend 2 years ago. I was 20 at the time and he was 27. We were close friends at first, but feelings quickly developed. We both rushed being exclusive, and we had both just ended long-term relationships, and honestly, I can see that was a big mistake on both our parts. Our relationship was tumultuous, and honestly a bit toxic from the get-go. He would push me away and be very hot and cold with me. I'd end up in tears more often than not, but eventually he started treating me very well. It's now 2 years later, and I currently live with him. I've been living with him and his relatives for about 6 months now. I had to move in with him because I was made homeless, otherwise I wouldn't have rushed this either, and I want to leave. Let me just clarify that I have no idea if what I'm feeling is correct, but my gut is telling me this relationship is wrong. He does things for me such as cooking me dinner, fetching me things if I ask, or picking me up and dropping me off to places. However, I feel as though he does these things as a currency in our relationship. He is always holding these things against me. A lot of the time I don't ask for him to go out of his way or to do anything for me, but he will, and he won't let me fucking forget it either. He likes to take me places even though I'm able and willing to get the bus. He says he doesn't like the idea of me going on my own, as if I'm a child. He likes to know who I'm meeting up with and for how long. I'm going to university later this year, and it's caused a lot of issues with our relationship. I've been realizing more and more that I don't want this relationship anymore. He's forcibly becoming my caretaker more than my boyfriend, and I don't want it. He keeps saying how I've changed and how past me would let him do X or would have liked Y. I think he's in love with who I used to be when I was 20. If he had his way, I wouldn't be going to uni. My uni is 2 hours away, and I chose that on purpose. Not even because of him, but because I want to live somewhere new and meet new people. He would rather sit me in his room and just get a job here in our local city and stay with him forever. He keeps making comments about marrying me. He even fake proposed to me last year as a way to stop me from breaking up with him. I stupidly thought he was for real, but I should have known better when he said he didn't want to tell his relatives and he didn't have a ring. He used the eternity ring he got me for Christmas. He kept using marriage as a way to tie me to him legally, and I recently put a stop to that. Told him I'm not getting married anytime soon, if at all, and it did cause an argument, but he now has stopped making such comments or jokes as he put it. Last night I tried to break with him for the 20th time, and he wouldn't let me, due to me being pretty much completely reliant on him and his relatives for another 4 months. I feel trapped. I don't think I love this man and I am frightened of him. He seems to be love bombing me continuously and I know he's obsessed with me. There's no other word for it. He's obsessed. I've been talking to another guy. He's a mutual friend, kinda, but he's more my friend than my boyfriend and he thinks my situation is dire. I've been feeling more and more attraction to this guy, more than my boyfriend, and that is how I know I don't want to be in a relationship. My boyfriend would rather have an open relationship with me than let me leave at all. He literally told me that. I feel trapped. I can't leave until September, and I've tried to break up with him so many times that I just feel exhausted now. He told me that if I genuinely wanted to leave, he'd let me. But last night, I was genuine and he ignored it. He mollycoddled me and put his arm around me and said, "Just don't stop loving me. You're my girl." I was shaking when he was doing that and was holding back tears and panic. He's frightening me and I don't know what to do. I'm so unhappy, but he makes me feel like I owe him love, or just myself. He saved me from the streets. I have no family and no friend who can only do so much to help me. He has positioned himself so I am completely, solely reliant on him, and I don't want it. When I try to escape in any way, he lashes out and makes me the villain and makes me feel ungrateful or selfish. I know I have to leave. I know uni will be a godsend for so many reasons. What I need is advice on how to survive these next 4 months whilst I'm with him. He's not a bad person. He is a good boyfriend, but to a codependent degree. I feel like the main character from Stephen King novel Misery. I know it's love, but it isn't healthy. Any advice would be great. I'm sorry for the long read. And as I said, we do have an update to this story. And yes, it does sound like an incredibly toxic relationship. And a lot of these stories we read always involve like power and control and stuff like that. And this one kind of feels no different to me in some way as well, that he's using, you know, he got you off the streets and all this kind of stuff as a control tactic against you so you can't break up with him, making you feel guilty because, you know, he saved you in some way. One of the lines that really jumped out to me, I don't know why this particular line, a lot of it is, you know, pretty toxic, but when it said, he told me that if I genuinely wanted to leave, he'd let me. Like someone has to accept you leaving them first. Like, yeah, okay, if you want to leave, I will let you. Like, it's his choice. And then goes further to put his arm around you and said, don't stop loving me, you're my girl kind of thing. Which sounded very controlling. I know it's in text format here, so it's kind of hard to see what was actually going on, but it feels very creepy to me. But yes, you feel incredibly controlled, you know, a bit helpless in this one as well. And I think you just need to get out of there. And I will talk to your friend who you have been talking to, see if they can maybe help you out, you know, with a room till you go to university or something like that. But definitely go to university and live your life if that's what you want to do. Meet new people and just live it. We got a couple of comments which we're going to cover first, then we're going to move to the update. And we'll start with Squig173 who says, I second the other commenter. This sounds like abuse. Please leave him. Go to university and have a wonderful time focusing on you and your personal development. Also, please don't ever feel that your feelings could be wrong. Feelings are not facts and therefore they can never be wrong. You should always at least acknowledge them, especially when it's a strong gut feeling like you described. It definitely sounds like this person is using emotional abuse tactics against you. See a counsellor if that is financially possible for you. Make new friends so that you aren't depending on him for all your social contacts. Reach out to your friend and ask him if they could help house you for a little while you get your feet under you / until you go to uni. And Squig also replies to their comment saying, also I know it's hard to stop justifying that he is a good boyfriend. A good boyfriend would not ignore when their partner is saying they want to end the relationship. They would not talk over your feelings as if they know them better than you do yourself. They would not hold favours over your head like it's a currency. They would not gaslight and emotionally abuse you for wanting to end the relationship. They would take your concerns about the relationship seriously, and they would act on it if possible or respect it. They would do favours for you because they want to, and they would want to see you happy, and they would want to do it without expecting anything in return. Sneaky Seer says this isn't love, he isn't a good boyfriend and this relationship is downright toxic. He basically made you rely on him so you can't leave, but you absolutely have to leave. Do you really think that in 4 months' time he will just let you pack and go? You will also need to stop talking to that guy for your own safety and his. If your boyfriend is as obsessive as you say, he will start going through your phone and he could potentially hurt you and him too. So just stop. Ask that friend if you can crash on their sofa for a few days or a week or two. If you have a job, make sure you're stashing money away in an account he has no access to. If you don't have a job, get one ASAP so you can actually afford to leave. Rent a room somewhere for the next month and cut him out of your life. Also, you need to take care of birth control before he baby traps you. And if you're on the pill, make sure he isn't messing with it. Shits and Fart says and shares a link, you're in an abusive relationship. The above website has resources for you and numbers you can call to help you get out. Abusers make you feel like you owe them, but you don't owe this guy anything. You don't belong to him. The only person you owe anything to is yourself, to live an authentic life free of fear. Listen to your gut about what is happening. Your instincts are giving you correct information. Make your escape plan in secret. If he finds out, the abuse will escalate and you could be in danger. Stella Maris says, I'm concerned for your safety, OP. You need to get out of there. Other people have already given good practical advice about that. If you can't get out now, staying with a friend, then try to keep your head down until you can. Make sure you know where your documents, university acceptance stuff, passport, etc. are, and that he can't get to them. I'd be super wary of letting him know details of your location at university too. Do you trust any of his relatives to help you out? OP replies to that saying, "I don't think I can leave until September in all honesty. Getting the place will take forever, and what little money I have I'm putting aside for uni." His relatives are good people. I think if they weren't here, he'd be a lot worse honestly. His parents are going to help me get to uni, thank God, so I do think it'd be what you said, keep my head down until then. As for my new location, I've been having that thought too. I knew he will come see me when I leave. I want to write him a letter for when I go in order to explain why I don't want to maintain a relationship with him, then block and ghost him. But I'm certain if he has my new address, he will come find me regardless. And one more comment from current Loquat9377 who says, and quotes, "We both rushed being exclusive," and then says red flag 1. "Our relationship was tumultuous and honestly a bit toxic from the get-go." Red flag 2. "I feel as though he does these things as a currency in our relationship. He's always holding these things against me." Red flag 3. I could go on, but that's a lot of red flags, and you are saying you feel trapped. So the important question is, how soon can you leave and not be homeless? This is a run fast as you can situation. So now let's move on to the update to see what that says. So update. My last post didn't garner much attention, but I feel though an update could help anyone else who may be in a similar situation as I was. The update is, I was right. My gut instinct told me the relationship was wrong, and I was so correct. What I forgot to mention in my last post was that my ex was obsessed with another woman, even before we were together officially. When we were friends, he would constantly talk about her, said she was a free spirit, and there was something about her that had him pretty much captivated. 4 months into our relationship, he cheated on me with her. He said they only kissed, but he is a compulsive liar, so I have no real idea just how far it went. Probably all the way. It doesn't even matter anymore. A month after that, he continued to talk to her and play LOL, League of Legends I believe, with her even after knowing how much it hurt and broke me when he cheated. He still chose her again. Well, last night I discovered that he was back in contact with her, and not only that, he also had kept a letter she sent him years ago and never told me about it. He also kept mementos from the night he cheated on me. He kept them safe, as he told her. We recently went on a family holiday together near to where the other woman lives. Even then my gut feeling was off. I was right to feel it. He tried multiple times to go off and meet her whilst being on holiday with me. He literally forced me to go on holiday with him, only to then try and go meet her. He has been talking to her since May, but I suspect longer. Either way, he told her she never left his mind. He told me we were soulmates and that he loved me more than anyone. He was completely full of shit. For months I knew something was off in our relationship. I fucking knew it, and I was completely correct. Trust your gut instincts, they will most likely be spot on. I will no longer be with anyone again. I felt trapped in this abusive relationship, only for it to be built on lies and bullshit. Guess I'm glad I'm finally free. Only wish I hadn't given him a chance to hurt me the way he did. Worst part is, he genuinely doesn't care. He even blames me for him cheating. And I'm not sure if this is going to sound horrible. In some ways, I kind of see this as a kind of a positive update that gave you that push to get out of that relationship. Because this guy was toxic from the very first post, and it even got worse in the second post. So to have something to make you think, fuck this, I'm out, I think that was a good thing. And although it's definitely not good for you mentally or anything like that right now, I think in the future you may look back and think, thank goodness I did get out of there when I did. Because obviously that certainly needed to happen. Betrayal is obviously a very horrible feeling, but time is a great healer, and so is therapy if you need that too. But put it this way, you wasn't loved in that relationship, you was being controlled, and you deserve that respect, you deserve that love. And life can be real painful sometimes, but these are lessons that we learn and we grow from them, and we become better people for a lot of them. So whatever you're doing right now, I wish you the best, and let's move on to another story. And I want to read this next story just because I'm really curious about what the comments are going to say, because I'm looking at this one and I can't think of it myself. But Kindly Inspection 3 asks, if everything is good except for the lack of a proposal, at what point do you call it quits? Him 28 male, me 30 female, relationship 3.5 years, and very good the entire time except for this. Hi, looking for some advice. I've been telling myself for months that I'm crazy to care about this and that my relationship is otherwise amazing. I do care still though, so I'm not sure where to go from here. We've been together for almost 4 years, and I explained very early when talking about deal breakers that I did want to get married eventually, and that is what I was looking for in a partner. He told me that it was important to him as well, and I thought we were on the same page. About 1.5 years into our relationship, he, unprompted, started talking about rings and if I'd say yes if he asked. I told him I would say yes and that I'd prefer a simple style of ring. I suggested he get a very specific close friend's advice. She knows my preference as well. A year goes by with no proposal. In that time frame, we travelled to 4 different countries and done a ton of romantic stuff. That was so much opportunity. I asked him if everything was okay in our relationship and what was holding him back. He said he was just saving for a ring. I mostly understood because all that travelling was pricey and assured him I didn't want anything expensive. The pandemic hit shortly after. The pandemic did not impact my career and it positively impacted his. Last summer I wanted to buy an investment property. Real estate is really booming here and an opportunity presented itself. He said that he wanted to purchase it with me and I told him that while I loved him, I wasn't comfortable making such a big financial investment without any real commitment from him. I told him it would be different if we were married or engaged, but without that commitment, it was something I felt I should do on my own. He assured me that we were getting engaged, but it wouldn't be before the winter. When he still hadn't proposed in February 2021, I purchased the property on my own. It was a stretch for me financially, but I didn't feel I should be going into something so big with someone I wasn't married to. I admit I did not discuss this with him much ahead of time, other than to say I still intended to purchase in the months leading up. He seemed hurt, but said he understood. In April, the discussion came up again, and he told me that the only reason he hadn't asked yet was because of the lockdowns. He said he wanted to shop in person. I told him I understood, and that it was not so important to me anymore. I acknowledged telling him this was dumb. At the time I was genuinely trying to convince myself that I didn't care because it's just a piece of paper and it shouldn't matter. He told me that it was still important to him and to not be silly, that we were obviously getting married. Retail stores have been open for several months now, and still nothing. He was researching a new car last night. It just made me so damn sad thinking about how he's been telling me for actual years now the only thing holding him back is money or ability to shop, but it really seems like that can't be the case if he's able to test drive and buy a new car. It feels like every time I brought it up, he just tells me what he thinks I want to hear, regardless of whether or not it's the truth. I do love him and otherwise he's perfect for me, but I also feel very much that he's stringing me along. It's definitely starting to affect our relationship. Family or friends are always asking what the holdup is, and I don't know what to tell them. I'm starting to feel like if I don't leave him now, our relationship will just sour over him leading me on like this anyways. It will just be a slower breakup, which isn't ideal at this age really. I feel like I've brought up the topic enough for him to know how I feel. However, I don't think he understands that it's something I'm willing to end things over. I'm also not 100% sure it is something I'm willing to end things over either. After all, it is just a stupid piece of paper, and I probably shouldn't care. The thing is, if he hadn't told me when we first started dating he wouldn't be proposing for this long, I would never have continued our relationship. Now I love him though, so I don't know what to do. Now, as I said at the start of this one, I was sort of unsure on the question, and my only thoughts on this is the amount that you've actually told him and the amount of hints you've given towards him is that, do you want to keep pushing this? Because it will be eventually a forced proposal, which to me is like, do you really want that? Is that something you want? I don't think I'd want someone to force them to propose to me. Surely you want someone that wants to propose to you, you know, not being forced to have to do it. Because clearly he must know your feelings by now, the amount of hints you dropped and all this kind of thing. And I kind of wanted to say as well, why don't you propose to him? But I don't think that's going to work in this situation either, because you're kind of looking for that commitment from him at this moment in time. But to me in this, you've made your position very clear on what you want. But I would go one step further and have a proper sit down conversation and say, look, literally I need a date. If you really want to go down this path. As I said, I haven't got a clue about this, but I would literally want a how long is this going to take kind of thing, because, you know, life is moving on right here. I want deadlines, and that's all I'm going to say. And we'll move to the comments to see what they say, with Giant Cyan saying, I don't really know what there is left for you to do. You can't make yourself any more clear. In a sense, this is a good thing for you. You don't want to force someone to marry you if they really don't want to after all. And at this point, if you tell him, I'm going to break up because you're not marrying me, and he proposes immediately, that would hardly be genuine, no? OP replies to that and quotes the section and says, I agree. It's so weird because anytime there is a problem, we'd normally just talk it out until there wasn't a problem anymore. With this though, I don't know how to do so without pressuring him into a decision he might not be ready to make. Strong Free Brave says, my thoughts are on this, stop talking about it, he knows. Set a timeline for yourself. What feels reasonable, 3 months, 6 months, a year? In that time, don't bring it up. If it never comes up from him, no talk about marriage or proposal, etc., there's your answer. Take notice of the I will people. They've been I will for years, yet haven't done. This situation sucks, sorry you're going through it. Tower Junkie replies to that saying, this post is bringing up a lot for me because my boyfriend talked about marriage for the first couple of years and I went from, I don't know if I'm ready to, just buy me a Walmart ring. He talked about it so long. We're coming up to 7 years and I just don't think this guy wants to marry me. He has been nothing but talk without action. I've had the same realization lately that he knows what our issues are because I've explained things every way I can and he just continues to do the same stuff and plays dumb. Y'all are just reflecting this stuff back to me and showing me my gut is right. Divorcee says, I'm sorry you're in this position. I'm so proud of you for buying the property in your own and not jointly without the commitment of marriage that you want. At this point, I think you have to face facts. He is very good at paying lip service to this, but there is no action. This is always what to watch. Action, not words. Secondly, even if you propose, if you give an ultimatum or have a talk, that feels awful. He is displaying ambivalent behavior. Who wants to beg someone to marry them? They have to want it, enough to make it happen. I would set a short internal deadline and keep it to yourself. Maybe your 4-year anniversary. Wait quietly, do not bring up the subject again. If there is no proposal at that time, please pack and move out and end calmly. Wish him well and end the relationship. He is either having doubts or not able to commit. Either is not a good indicator as to the strength of his feelings. Above all, do not ignore your gut and the obvious. You stated you feel you are being strung along. You are. Almost 4 years is long enough to know. You don't have to ask. His inaction is the answer. Hold your head high and quietly execute this plan. Again, sorry you find yourself at this fork in the road. And one more from Apprehensive Tell who says, let me put this simply. He does not want to marry you. If he wanted to marry you, he would have proposed to you. It doesn't really matter why it doesn't. I don't think he should get one more chance. It's time to move on. You are 30, you can't dick around waiting for this guy anymore. You are posting about this on the Break Up With Them subreddit for a reason. This is the advice you need to hear, and you already know it. Now, what would the advice you would give to OP in this situation if you found yourself in a similar position to OP? How would you deal with it? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And as we said at the very start, if you do have a moment of your time and you like these kind of stories, would you please do me a solid and click that like button as well. It hugely helps out the channel, and if you go to the very end of the video, a couple of little playlists will pop up which you can click on and they will scroll through automatically so you can just chill out. Thank you so much for your love, support and time, and I will see you in the next one. Take care guys, much love.